This is Monroe University.
Hi, I'm Monica, your Monroe virtual trainer. I'm here to walk you through the digital shop under hood inspection. This is the next step in the digital shop process to servicing the guest in one of our Monroe tire stores. Let's get started. Okay, let's do a quick review about what we've learned in regards to digital shop. We know that the check-in process involves greeting the guest, going out to the vehicle to do a physical inspection, and we know that with digital shop, you can use the text-to-speech or keyboard for notes. I think that sounds about right. There are times where a component listed on the inspection are not installed on a vehicle, or the actual inspection of the component would take extensive time to inspect. As an example, the 2013 Nissan Rogue required the removal of the accelerator pedal assembly to replace the cabin air filter. While a filter may not be inspected without additional labor, a MAC-compliant recommendation of suggested 3 manufacturer's scheduled maintenance is acceptable. A note that the item was not checked but recommended based on maintenance would be in order. Never mark an item that is not installed as okay. Leave the item as not checked and insert a message vehicle not equipped. When you've completed the check-in inspection, you'll be returned to this screen. Now select the courtesy inspection. Now select your name from the technician list. Remember to first check the hood supports, if applicable. Using the proper lift points, raise the vehicle 1 inch off floor and check for stability. Lift points can be found in the ALI Lift Point Guide or by typing lifting in the search section of All Data. To access the lift points in All Data, click the repair icon. Select the year, make, and model of the vehicle. If the vehicle has been looked up recently, it can be selected from the recent vehicles list. Type lift or use the speech-to-text in the search area, then select vehicle lifting. Also, more information on vehicle lifting can be found in Monroe University training. Inspect and record all items listed on MSM printout and/or all data scheduled maintenance. From this screen, click on the maintenance icon. Notes on your scheduled maintenance recommendations can be entered from the notes icon. You want to remove the air and cabin filters. Check and place them on engine compartment for the guest inspection. This is extremely important. Good or bad, showing these items builds trust with the guest. Also, visually inspect throttle body if possible. Next, top off and fill the windshield washer fluid. Now let's watch a quick video on checking power steering fluid for leaks and level.
Fluid cap, remove it, and you want to check the level. In this case, there's 3 lines, a low, a medium, and a high. High being the max, low being the minimum. Let's wipe it down, reinstall, and get a good fluid level check. Back it back out. Ours is right at the top of the max. We're in good shape. I like to wipe down the rim, don't let any dirt or contamination go down inside, and reinstall the cap and make sure it seals.
Next, check the pre-service oil level. If doing an oil change, remove the oil cap and set it over the hood latch. Place the oil out cone on the engine. Next, use a test strip to measure the copper content of the brake fluid. If it's over 200 ppm, recommend exchange and record in the tablet. Check the coolant using a test strip or hydrometer. Recommend service based on level, condition, or PM schedule. Record results in the tablet. As we get further into the inspection, more detail is required to communicate the needs behind a recommended service. The brake fluid exchange is the first of the inspection pieces requiring detail. When you touch on the radio button, a new screen will appear. Here you will be asked to enter the copper content of the brake fluid. Keep in mind, as AMRA members, the only want to ethically recommend a brake fluid exchange is when brakes are being serviced and the bleeders are open to properly service the brakes, the vehicle manufacturer's time and/or mileage have been met, or copper content has exceeded 200 ppm. Moisture checking devices, while available, are not approved for use in our stores. Once the copper content is entered, a recommendation can now be made. The coolant line will also open a new menu, asking you first for the freezing point of the coolant. This can be done with a test strip or hydrometer on the next screen. This screen will ask you for the pH level, which can only be obtained with a test strip. If a hydrometer was used, leave default 0 and click Next. Again, once this data is entered, a recommendation can be made. Now begin to check the transmission fluid and oil levels. Before work is started, follow the manufacturer's process for checking transmission fluid. Now check the hoses for cracking, leaking, or sponginess. Pay very close attention to the fittings and clamps for signs of seepage. Check the belts for cracking or fraying. Also check the idler and the tensioner pulleys for deflection. Let's watch this video on the belt gauge tool.
Thanks to advances in technology, serpentine belts last a lot longer than they used to. The downside to this longevity is that they don't always show visual signs of wear, and a belt which looks fine may actually be near the end of its life. The new Gates belt wear gauge was designed with the input of professional technicians to provide a simple check and determine if the belt has lost enough material to warrant replacement. Power steering, engine cooling, air conditioning and charging systems may all be adversely affected by reduced drive from a worn serpentine belt. Besides reduced efficiency, an outright belt failure will leave you stranded and at worst damage your vehicle or cause an accident. This small, lightweight gauge can be used with a belt on or off the vehicle, in tight spaces or even areas you can't see. With the engine off, just press the gauge into an open, straight surface on the belt and attempt to rock the gauge laterally while applying gentle pressure. If the gauge resists movement and remains seated firmly in the grooves, the belt is in good condition. If there's movement in the gauge, there is enough wear in the belt to cause slip, and it should be replaced with a high-quality Gates belt drive. A belt wear check should be done at every 3-month inspection. Replace it with a quality Gates belt drive when necessary, and you'll ensure optimum safety and reliability in your vehicle.
Like brake fluid and coolant, the battery line has data entry to support your recommendations to a guest. After testing the battery and inspecting the terminal ends, touch the battery test radio button. First, you will be asked for the battery rating. This information can be taken from the battery label. If you're unable to read the battery label, you can look this information up in All Data. Begin by clicking on Repair, then enter the vehicle information or click on Recent Vehicles. Since you looked this vehicle up for MSM and lift points, it should be in the Recent Vehicles list. Now you can click on Specifications on the left or enter Battery in the upper right search bar. And finally, enter your test results and make the appropriate recommendation. This now ends the under-hood inspection process. There you have it, your step-by-step guide to the under-hood inspection.
One vision. One team. One Monroe.